Hey there, good morning, and welcome to Conscious Coffee at 6 a.m. And I admittedly am not that conscious yet. I kind of woke up and feeling a little, I think I need coffee. So let me grab a couple sips of coffee here. So, when I started this Conscious Coffee, I guess it was a week ago now, I said that I was going to keep it very organic and I never would know what I was going to be talking about until the morning of. And quite literally, that's what I have been doing. So I've been letting Spirit guide me. My whole intent for Conscious Coffee is that it is very spirit driven instead of, even though I am a sex and relationship educator, the foundation of all of my work really is spirit based. So I'm trying to bring over, oh goodness, here comes my little one. um, so I'm trying to bring over what Spirit wants me to share with you. And this morning I was sitting here and I'm like, okay, I have no idea what do you want me to talk about, Lord? So the topic of today is going to be on recognizing Satan in your life. Now, when I say the word Satan, everybody probably is going, oh my gosh, what the hell is she doing talking on Sunday about Satan? Is she going to turn into a priest, a pastor, a minister? No. But what I am actually going to be talking about is what we all have Satan with us in every single day. And Satan is constantly speaking to us. But this Satan is our own personal little Satan that we carry with us that wants to, sabotage and destroy our life and really prevent us from having the beautiful things that we can have. And that Satan would be our egos. In Kabbalah, the ego is referred to as Satan. And that's obviously where I'm going with this morning, because I think all of the positive stuff that I've been talking about through the course of the week about how to manifest your dreams, how to manifest your desires, the things that we can do, having belief, having that desire, having the focus, the intent, learning how to let go, practicing these positive things every single day, and really getting in there can all be, the thing that will prevent you from doing that is Satan in this moment. And when I say Satan, think ego, but kind of get used to thinking of your ego as Satan, because it really is Satan. There's a purpose for the ego. It's there to keep us safe. It's there to, provide us with different things. But in today's world, it does a lot more against us than it does for us. So it's constantly trying to keep us safe, even at the risk of giving us a really shitty life and making sure that we don't get what we want. So some of the things that Satan does is, it really is doubt. And a few days ago, I was talking about doubt doors and how we always take those doubt doors. And, why do we take those doubt doors? We take those doubt doors because those doubt doors are presented to us as safety nets. They're presented to us as better choices. They're presented to us as logical, educated. A wise person would do this. A smart person would do that. And they're even going to be presented to us in cases of, well, I'll feel better if I do this. I was talking to a friend the other day and sharing, some different viewpoints on his life. And what came up was I was saying, you're going to be self-sabotage, because that is what Satan is, self-sabotaging things. And often self-sabotage does not feel like self-sabotage on the front side. We don't realize that it's a self-sabotage move until we get into it, until somebody else points it out to us, until we get through the self-sabotage to the other side, and then look back, and now we're 2020 vision, right? We go, oh shit, I was masking, I was self-sabotaging, I was doing this, I was doing that. In the moment, though, it might have felt good to make the choice. We might have thought, well, I'm supporting myself. I'm taking care of myself. I'm being a good person. I'm being of service. I'm helping. I really need to do this. They're my family. They're my friends. All these reasons which will appear on the front side as though you were doing it for all the right reasons, when in fact it is the ego very much at work, very strong at work, with its deception, with its planning, and with its ideas of keeping us safe. So the ego works in, we are told there's multiple layers of ego. I guess I should start there. There's multiple layers of ego. There is our personal egos. The ego that, that's that voice inside of our head that really tends to want to overpower our feelings and our other thoughts, and wants to overpower the thoughts that we are trying to really attach to and expand. So when we're doing positive conscious work, when we're doing creative work, the ego will come in and it will bombard us with doubtful, second guessing, unsupportive thoughts. It will pull into our sphere different things that support the negative thoughts that make us feel like, well, you see, I told you that wasn't really going to work out. They don't really feel that way. That wasn't really a good idea. It doesn't really happen like that. This is all bullshit. That's all the ego working towards getting you to fall back into alignment with what has always been comfortable, what your process has always been. So, looking at things like that, that's the personal ego. Then there's also the ego in personally that will tell you lots of different things, whether it is telling you that, oh no, you don't really need the help, you're much better than that. The ego will work on both sides of the spectrum. It will tell you that you're really good. It will also tell you that you're a piece of shit. And it really depends on where you're at in that day, and how whatever the ego believes is going to support the best good to keep the person exactly where they've been, right there in that comfort zone, in that space that they have been, that they need to just stay, because ego hates change. Satan hates change, okay? Satan hates freedom. Change in thought, change in the way we move, the things that we want, the things, oh, my little babe's talking to me. Okay, hold on. Change in thought, change in freedom, everything that we want is going to really, make Satan, the ego, rise up, stand up, and make itself known. But then here's the little trick that Satan does. Satan tends to go off and hide in the corners, and will let you have a little bit of the fun that you're having. Like, okay, you go play. You go play. You go taste a little bit of freedom. You go taste a little bit of your manifesting power. You go taste that. And as soon as you think you've got it, then I'm going to come up there and I'm going to just pluck it away from you. I'm going to pluck it away from you, and I'm going to do it just like that. And I'll do, and that's literally, so I guess the biggest point I'm trying to make here is that as you're going down this creation path, be very, very consciously aware that your own personal little Satan, your ego, is going along with the ride for you, and is going to always be there. You cannot get rid of your ego. It is going to be, and there's little things I'm going to come up with here as we're going along on the whole ego path that you need to be aware of, because there's a lot of beliefs out there, be ego-less, and to fight the ego, to go in war with the ego, to deny the ego. Don't be prideful. Don't be prideful. Don't be. I gotta move my chair back here. Don't be prideful. Don't be overly concerned about what your needs are. Don't ask for what you want. Don't ask for different things. Really just lean into always what the ego is wanting. Ego desires will keep you hungry. Ego desires will keep you feeling small and tell you that it is good to feel small. Ego will also tell you that it is good to feel big. It's going to work both sides of the fence there. So, and one of the biggest things that I'm going to hit on is pride, because that's something that we have been shamed about. In our society, we live in a society where it's not okay to be prideful. We have been taught that pride is a horrible thing. Much like anything else, if you overdo it, yeah, it can be really, really bad if we overdose on it. But we also need pride can work for us as well. And there's a different there's different things about pride. So you have to have the pride that might appear prideful to the world outside of you, but it is about the intent and the consciousness of that's coming from inside. So and that's really what it always is. And then I'll try to touch on this live maybe tomorrow a little bit more, but it really is about the consciousness that we have internally that makes the decision of if it is the ego or if it is the spirit at work. And the ego and the spirit can appear to the outside world as the exact same thing. But here's the thing, it doesn't fucking matter what the outside world thinks or views is going on in your life. It's all about your communication with God, your connection to self and God. That's it. Nothing else matters. So if you've got a congregation of people, your friends, your family, your colleagues at work that are going, well, you're really prideful. You think a lot of yourself. Think much of yourself often? Those comments. Like, hey, why are you patting yourself on the back? And here's the thing. We are told, those comments come to us. And we're told, don't pat yourself on the back too much. Don't get a big head. Don't overly talk about yourself. One of the things that I make a lot of my people do is I have them walk into my office and I say, what's your brag for today? Tell me something that you can brag about yourself on. And I get this look of terror that goes across somebody's face until they get used to me asking them. And I tell them, I'm going to ask this consistently. What is a brag that you have about yourself for today, from the last week? What can you brag about yourself for the last week? And there you go. I'm going to actually encourage everybody who listens to this. You get to this part and you haven't stopped listening to it yet. And anybody who's on right now, I want you to share a brag in the comments right now. So start thinking about the brag while I'm talking and go ahead and type it in. I want you to share a brag. Please brag about yourself. Just one little thing that you have done that you are very proud of yourself for doing in the last week. Okay? So I know, don't all rush at it at the same time there. Really, try share a brag. It'll notice what that does inside you. You're gonna feel a couple different things come up there. It's gonna feel pretty good, but then you're gonna start second guessing yourself. Okay? And as you're second guessing yourself and going, no, I don't want to share a brag on Facebook. I don't want to type that in over there. Good morning, Jason. I don't want to type that in there. But if you start bragging about yourself, it's going to help you get into a flow of feeling more positive, of feeling better about yourself, of accepting the blessings of the universe, of accepting things into your life. Because if you can't brag about yourself, if you can't say, yes, I deserve this, yes, I need to honor myself, yes, I am powerful, yes, I am smart, yes, I am beautiful, yes, I am handsome, yes, I am, deserving of love, yes, I am deserving of money, yes, I am deserving. Brag, say, I am deserving. And what we have been taught is to not brag about ourselves because it's bad to brag about ourselves. But it's not bad. If we are doing it in the right intent, then it is not bad. If we are doing it in the intent of honoring of self, because we are little channels of the Creator. So if we're going to, no matter what spiritual text you lean into, I don't care what the spiritual text is. All spiritual texts say that you need to honor the Creator, okay? And that you need to, basically brag about the Creator, right? Connect about the Creator. Well, guess what? We are little sparks of the Creator. And it's not that we're running around and we're saying, I am God. What we're doing is we're saying, I am deserving of God's blessing. I am calling down my blessings because I am deserving. But we have to do it with the right intent, okay? So that right feeling, that right sensation in the body, and that right sensation in the mind, the thought, the feelings, the intent. Where's your heart at? Where's your mind at? Where's your spirit at? Is this from your spirit, or is this from the ego? So back to Satan in your life, right? And Satan being in your life, being the ego, you have to start to really shine that light on the ego, because if you can't really figure out what is the ego and what is a spirit, much like I see the comments coming in, it says calling down blessing. It's claiming it, yes. It's claiming your blessings, which is certainty that you are owed the blessings. But you've got to know that those blessings are coming to you from your spirit, not your ego. Because the ego is only going to manifest shit in your life. That's all the ego is going to do. The ego is going to hold you in position for no movement, limited growth, really, really slow growth. It's going to feel like you're going through sludge, like you're stuck in a pool of molasses if you listen to the ego. Where the spirit will have you flying. It'll be like you've been drinking a lot of Red Bull. And you're just going to fly out there, and the blessings are going to pour in, because you will that you can receive the blessings. But you've got to figure out exactly what the ego is, what that voice of the ego is, and what the voice of spirit is. I mean, and all this week I've been talking about tapping into your feelings, paying attention to your thoughts, tapping into your feelings though. Well, you have to know what feeling and what thought is coming from the ego, and what feeling and what thought is coming from your spirit. And this is vitally important, because if you want to create good shit in your life, and that's love, money, new house, new car. I mean, you've been through all this stuff, right? It's not about what that goal is. You have to have clarity and focus, really strong intent on that. And then the next thing is that you have to know that that really is in alignment with who you are, your path, and what you're going through right in that moment. Because, $3 billion house in Switzerland. Already I hear, oh bullshit, you don't even want that, Kendal, what the hell? Like, no, I don't. I don't want a $3 billion house in Switzerland. I might taking a trip to Switzerland and sitting in a beautiful, castle area up on the mountain. Right, now you see, now I have pictures going through my head, and it feels good. So I'm more in alignment with the trip to Switzerland than I am about buying a $3 billion house in Switzerland. But my point, so let's go prove the point, so let's do that. But what's it going to do? If I set my intent on that $3 billion house in Switzerland, and I have all these thoughts going on, it's really not what my spirit wants, that's really not what's on my life path, it's not really a desire, but then I talk myself into it, because my ego talks me into it, and then I start leaning into that. The ego is going to set me up for failure. I'm already set up for failure, because I've jumped onto a path that's not mine to take. So you have to shine the light onto the ego. And really, you hear me, I keep talking about like the flashlight, because the way I work with things is like, I make these comments about, the greatest light can come out of the darkest darkness. But you have to be willing to carry a flashlight, a very intense flashlight with you. And you have to be willing to look for certain things. And the ego is one of them. So picture yourself in a dark closet, and you're trying to find your ego, which is a little, black creepy crawling monster that is really, really small. It's not that scary. It's actually probably kind of cute, but it's running around your feet, and you know that it's there, but you don't know where it's at. So you have to like shine this light around in the closet, and you're trying to find it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there you are. There you are. I see you. And then it moves, and you go, oh, I see you. You're over there. Because the ego is going to constantly move. And when you think that you know exactly where the ego's at, it's going to change its game up, and it's going to move someplace else. So you're going to always think that comes back to like the pride. All of a sudden, the pride, you'll be like, okay, I got this. I see that my pride is ego-based. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be, you'll find yourself giving money to somebody on the street. It's Christmas time, and you have an extra $20 bill in your purse, and you hand them the $20 bill at the stoplight. And what do? Typically, you're like, okay, yeah, God bless, right? You hand the money out the window, you hand it to the guy, and you're like, oh, poor guy. You start to have pity on that person. You have pity on that person. Well, guess what? There's a little bit of ego coming out here. Then all of a sudden you go into, oh, I'm so glad that I don't have to go through that. And it's really sad that he has to go through that. You go into comparison. You start noticing differences. You're going to notice how nice your car is. You're going to be really grateful for your clothes, all that kind of stuff. And that's okay. But here's the thing. Now all of a sudden you're in your head and you're like, I'm a really good person. I'm a really good person, because I was going to take that money and I was going to do this, but I chose to better somebody's day, better somebody's life. I get, who knows? Maybe that's the only food, the only money that they'll get today, and now they're going to have a meal because of me. Or that goes off in your head. Maybe you get to work or wherever you're going, and you're like, oh gosh, there's such a nice guy down at the corner. I gave him $20, but here we are. We're looking for pats on the back. The first one is we're patting ourselves on the back in our head, which is the ego doing a nice prideful pat for a seemingly act of service, act of good, act of giving, but we're patting ourselves on the back. The other one is a vocalization, asking for a pat from somebody else. Anytime we are doing something like that, that is the ego. Our ego has now worked both sides, and it worked both sides and took control of our life over something that was actually an act of good service, or would be seen as an act of good service. And then there is the ego that also works, on the other side of things, that has you rageful on the road and yelling at people because they can't merge right, or frustrated with your children and jumping the gun on different things and overreacting there, and needing to control everything instead of stepping into the flow of things. The ego is a very tricky thing, and I could probably do 50 different Facebook Lives just on ego, because it is that significant. But what I'm going to encourage you to do is to focus on doing a conscious brag in your life today. Write it down. Brag on a piece of paper, pen and paper, not on your phone, not on some online system at all, okay? So no technology in this. Pen and paper. I want you to write down 1 to 3 brags about your day, about who you are, things that you feel really, really good about today. And then the next thing is I want you to really start to just apply awareness. You're not going to get it every single time. None of us get it every single time. Our egos are sneaky little boogers that always are existing. And, but it's the more you can catch your ego, the better off you'll be. And it's going to help you to embody yourself better, which is obviously probably the underlying theme of all my Facebook Lives is because you have to embody yourself in order to create the life that you want. You have to know that where your path is at and what it feels like to be on your path, because it feels damn good to be on your path. It feels really good. Anything else is not where you're supposed to be. The feeling of happiness, of joy, of freedom, of liberty, of love, of blessing, of contentment, of peace, all of that stuff is because you are exactly where you need to be. You're doing what you need to be. You are in alignment to it. If you feel anything other than those things, then you're not in alignment to what you think you want in your life. Okay, so you have to get to it. Sometimes you have to start small, but one of the biggest challenges is Satan in this moment being the ego. And when you go up against Satan, know that it's not going away. It's actually going to grow with you. So it's going to get bigger and slyer and more devious and more difficult, but you're going to gain the skills of awareness as you move down the path, so you'll get better and quicker at recognition. Your flashlight will just go, oh, I see you, I see you, I see you. A lot easier. On the front side, you're going to go stir crazy trying to figure out what the ego is. So I'm going to share one more little story about the ego so that you have a little bit more ability to figure out what is the ego and what is my spirit. And this I learned from one of my Kabbalah teachers, and it makes so much sense to me. And so imagine yourself, you're sitting in a room and You are listening to the loudest, most obnoxious music that you can possibly imagine. You're listening to this music and it's really, really loud. It's really obnoxious, whatever that is to you, okay? And it's just, wah, 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 wah. You can hear nothing but this music. And it's just, oh, and it's starting to cause irritation, but it's so loud. It is literally just penetrating every cell of your body. You feel it in your joints. You feel this music. You hear this music. It's like the room is the music, okay? So if you really focus on that now, you can't hear much of anything else because this music is so loud. And then off in the distance, you notice as you kind of tune through the music, you tune in and you notice that there's this very calming, relaxing music. It's playing your very favorite song. Your very, very favorite song is playing, but it's playing at a very low volume, and it's way in the back of the room. So it's like it's coming off of your phone, and it's turned way down, and it's sitting way in the back of the room in the corner. And right next to you, you have a humongous sound system, like you're at a concert, and that's where that loud, obnoxious music is playing, okay? But you can, if you really focus, if you really apply your intent, you can actually, even with all this loud, obnoxious music blasting in your ear, you can tune in to your favorite song playing in the back of the room very quietly on your phone. So as you tune into that, that's your spirit. That's your intent. That's your path. And the boom, 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 loud noise right here next to your head, that's the ego. So that's that mind chatter. If you have a mind that is extremely active, extremely busy, know that most of that is your ego. Okay? That is mostly the ego. People with very busy minds have very busy egos, and they are buying into the ego bullshit consistently because they're believing that all this chatter is theirs. And it's not theirs. It's not your chatter. It belongs to the ego. That is the ego sending out its multiple streams of negative possibilities, seemingly sometimes positive, excuse me, seemingly sometimes positive, but if you really run down that path, if it is coming from the mind chatter from that loud, obnoxious box, then it's your ego. And it's going to be a lot harder initially to tap into that your favorite song playing in the back of the room. But if it's something that you really, really want, those desires, connection to self, love, joy, happiness, peace, so you have to make the commitment to do the work on the front side to really tap into that little quiet voice back there. That's that favorite song. Because the favorite song is going to lead you to exactly what you want, and it will get louder and louder and louder and louder with more, goodness, I knew this morning, with more focus that you put on it. So if you want to expand your ability to hear, you have to apply the attention there. So where attention goes, energy flows. Where attention goes, the volume will crank up. And as you crank up the volume on your favorite song back there, the more the volume of the very loud sound system of chaos is going to start to, it will try to compete. It will try to alpha dog it. It will try to move in front of it. It's going to try all these tactics. And you've got to, in those moments, strengthen yourself and go, no, I am focusing in on my favorite song. I am going to sing it loud and proud so that I am overcoming this loud noise next to me. And as soon as the ego starts to go, oh, wait, they have that figured out, shit. They're seeing me. They're seeing me. It's going to try to change its game, which means that initially it's probably going to turn its volume down because it's going to try to change its game. It's got to figure out some way to get you. And so it's going to go and it's going to nibble at your ankles like a little, irritating Chihuahua dog or something. Sorry if you love Chihuahuas, but ankle biter dog. But, it's going to do different things. Or maybe it'll just sit quietly and let you have your fun for a little bit. So there's lots of different things here. Like I said, I think tomorrow, I even though I want to walk in, as organic as possible. Somewhere in the next few days, I am going to be talking about the ego again, because there's so much that needs to be discussed on this, but how you can start to overcome the ego as well. But I have hit my 30-minute mark, and I'm, for whatever reason, that feels right to me. Right now, though, really focusing on your blessings, take that internal flashlight and start to see if just today you can apply enough focus to catch your ego in different ways. And when you catch your ego, give yourself a pat on the back, because you know what? You're going to feed the ego a little bit, but you're going to go, hey, I caught my ego. And then recognize that when you pat yourself on the back, that potentially could be your ego patting itself on the back. There's lots to go there, lots to think about. Pat yourself on the back, and we can talk about how you can toss your ego some snacks here and there and still be able to expand and limit that chaos in your life. Because what are we trying to do? We limit the chaos in our life, and then we can move forward with our dreams, our goals, our desires, our feel-good feelings, our happiness, our joy, our bliss, our orgasmic life, our fuck yes life. Because that's what we all want, is that fuck yes life. And whatever that means to you is what it means to you, and that's the fuck yes life that you need to strive for, and that you can have, not in the future, but today. Focus on today. Start living your fuck yes life today, in your heart center, in your mind center, okay? Go there, because if you can't have it today, guess what? You'll never have it tomorrow. So with that, I will catch you tomorrow at 6 a.m. And please, if you have the courage, share one of your brags for today on the thread over there. If not, you can message it to me as well. I look forward to hearing it. If you want to pop me a private message and go, hey, this is my brag today, let me hold you accountable to doing that. And then really also just send me, like what, if you're going to do it that way, then realize that you're going to get a little bit of coaching, and I'm going to want to know what that brings up inside of you. So I will catch you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Go have a blessed, awesome, blissful. Bye.